Hi, everyone. It's Anna J. Wellner with the Bookish Nook on the Author Library Network, sponsored by Creative Edge Publicity. And with me today, I am pleased to have Melinda Curtis. Melinda, thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. Please ignore the thunder in the background if you can hear it.
Will do. You know, living in the Pacific Northwest, I certainly understand the shaking effect of storms.
Yeah, it's not the best hair day today for me. Texas, we get all kinds of interesting weather, and today just happens to be one of those tornado days.
Yeah, during the pandemic, we moved from California to Oregon, and I don't think I've had a good hair day since then.
The struggles that women understand universally, good hair days. So Melinda is the author of countless cozy romance novels and has just released a collection of 10 holiday romances this month. Can you tell us about the box set?
Yeah, the box set is actually me and 9 other friends, and we all write for Harlequin, but then we do kind of these digital first releases in a place called Christmastown, Maine. And so it's wonderful to write there because everything is kind of cozy and warm and friendly, like a Hallmark movie. And this time, the box set is centered around a high school reunion 10 years later. And it starts out with them opening the time capsule. And so each of the 10 authors writes a little mini romance. And it's kind of like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. So we discover something in the time capsule and it kind of gets passed through everyone as the weekend rolls through. So it's kind of a continuous look at the weekend and 10 different couples.
Oh, that sounds so cool. It's kind of gives me a little bit of a Stars Hollow vibe. The way that you talk about it. To see your collection of works, it's truly impressive. How long have you been actively writing and publishing?
Oh my gosh, I think I got really frustrated with my to be read pile. Every reader has one, right? Like, I want to read this book and this book and this book. And I had a series of really bad books, like do not finish. And so that was back in, I want to say, gosh, I'm dating myself now, but 1998. And I had a mom. I was a mom with several kids at home, 3 kids at home under the age of 10. And so reading was my escape at night, right? And just could not finish several books and thought, I can do better. And I noticed in one of the ones that I had finished previously that I had just loved, that in the front, the author bio had contacted me, and it was at a P.O. box that was 45 minutes away from where I lived. And I thought, oh my gosh, I am going to contact this author. I had never done that before, and said, hey, how does a working super mom write her own romance? And she said, oh, hey, we have these romance writer meetings once a month. Come on down. It was really, the romance community was very welcoming and kind of brought me in, introduced me to different avenues, how to get an agent, how to find an editor, how to pitch, how to sell, how to package up your work, those kind of things. And it was kind of from there. I think it took me 4 years from there to make a first sale. But yeah, that's how I went through. I'm a really wide reader. I read everything from cozy mysteries to paranormal and science fiction. Loved the new Dune movie that came out. I was really frustrated that it only went halfway through, but just ended up writing in romance.
That's amazing. Your story just proves that if you don't try, you'll never know. So for you to reach out to an author, just the PO box in the front of the book, and for it to lead to all of the success that you've had, that's amazing. It's such an inspiring story.
Yeah. If people have a dream, you have to kind of get out of your comfort zone and reach for it.
Exactly. And so many authors don't, and they never end up finishing that first book. And I hate to hear that people give up on that, because everyone's story is so unique and every author's voice is so unique that, you can be given the same premise or the same plot, and two authors can write two entirely different books from that one singular same plot. So I think that you have to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been proven over and over again. There's only like 6 basic stories,
Right?
Man versus man, man versus society, whatever it is. So
Man versus
yeah,
self.
of
Yeah.
course, your story might have some similarities, but the way you tell a story, just like the way you tell a joke, or recount your day to someone, is unique to you. And that's a valid, people are waiting to hear the way that you tell something.
Well, since we're on the topic, the consensus seems to be that writing romance automatically means an HEA, or happily ever after. Is that what readers can expect from your work? Or do we have some happy for now situations?
Well, an HEA, a happily ever after, really means that you're comfortable that these people are going to move forward and either have a happily ever after forever and ever more, or a happily right now where you're not worried about their relationship. Like there's nothing that's been unresolved. They've kind of grown to a place where they fit together. I mean, as we know in real life, you grow together and you commit to each other, and then something may come along and your happily ever after falls apart. I mean, that's reality too. But at the end of the book, the reader should feel comfortable that, these people made a great choice and they're perfect for each other for right now and maybe forevermore.
And I think that's what draws us to, the mystery, the romance genre, is because we want that kind of sense of wish fulfillment for ourselves. I know whenever I read a romance book, then I want to see, this good relationship and they're happy, and I think that's the best part, is making me feel like I can have that too.
Not only I can have that too, but actually overcome some struggles, right? I don't like, I'm getting a little burnt out. I still enjoy Hallmark movies, but I'm getting a little burnt out that they're a lot of times too easy.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no
predictable.
Yes, even more than predictable. Like there's no worry that these people might not overcome things and work it out.
Yeah, that's really true. And I cannot believe that we're already starting to see Christmas movies pop up on Hallmark already. And it's just not, well, it is November. It is November. So pretty much for the most part. So I can't believe that this year has flown by so quickly, but it has.
Yeah, me either. It just feels like, we've been half quarantine, full quarantine, masking up, whatever forever. I'm waiting for something to happen that's different. And then this year still just flew by, even though we're centric a lot in our homes and our communities.
I know, but it's given us a good opportunity to take that time to write. I know that I've done a lot of that myself, to edit and do the not so fun stuff, that you have to do that goes along with writing, and but yeah. It's a good chance to do it whenever you're in the house and you're kind of stuck a bit.
Well, it is fun to get in the right mindset. I study a lot of keeping, your creative muse, refilling the well, that kind of thing, because I do write a lot every year. And I recently read a book. It's called, it's over here on my desk, Mind Management, Not Time Management, which it was about tapping into when you're creative and recognizing, how to kind of get yourself out of that loop of, oh, I did nothing today. I just did nothing, how to kind of guide yourself through and inspire yourself. Otherwise, I'd be playing like Katy Perry upbeat songs every morning, loud enough to shake the house and wake the neighbors, right? Because I just, you need to just boost yourself up. So it's not
Absolutely.
easy. As you know, it's not easy to get in that chair. Writing is my day job now. And so
Right.
it's hard to get in that chair every day and put in the work.
Right. Whenever it kind of seems like a job. And I know I ride what I call the creative wave. And so I understand that along with that creative wave that I'm riding, like a surfer would, then, there inevitably comes the trough where you're at that point where you're, as you say, refilling the creative well and waiting for the next wave to come and sweep you along. And by wave, I mean idea. So is that kind of how you do things whenever it's really there, whenever it's really resonating? It's like, don't bother me. I'm on the laptop. I'm on my computer. Don't bother me.
Yeah, and I wish that that I had the luxury of saying, "Hey, don't bother me." Um,
I don't
we
either.
Yeah, like we moved to Oregon to be closer to our adult children. They all came to school up in Oregon and then they settled down up here. So we moved up here and it's like, they drop by or they drop by with the grandkids, or my husband is like, hey, I need your help making dinner or something. And you're like, I was right in the middle, like feeling the groove. And sometimes you really can't because the
Yeah.
real life is as important as your work life, right? So that can be really frustrating. So you really have to find a time when you're productive and um, you're not like cutting off other relationships at the knees, because
You know,
that's what life is all about, right?
right. And it's so funny that readers, I think, have this vision of us just being in a study that's filled with books and a big brown leather chair, and we're just constantly typing at the laptop and or the computer or writing by hand. And I'm like, well, that is so not the case. I have a 2-year-old and I have to listen to Frozen going in the living room and trying not, whatever it is that she's watching, and try not to get distracted while focusing on this. I'm like, you guys just have no idea. This
Yeah.
can be
Yeah, I
crazy
mean, it
sometimes.
really is. And it's different for everybody, and you have to kind of drop into a zone and become this person that you're writing in the point of view of, you know, and and that takes me a little bit of time. It takes me 10 to 15 minutes to kind of drop in there.
Getting that
And then after
mindset.
about 45 minutes, my brain is like, I need a little break. But yeah, it's hard. You really have to play a mental game with yourself of shutting off the outside world, yet being a part of the outside world, right? Being aware of
All
maybe
about.
something that might be going wrong with your 2-year-old, or, hearing the cat gack up whatever it ate outside, I mean, that was how I woke up this morning. A pleasant awakening, really true romance writer, the luxury of being a writer, right?
Here you go, guys. The unfiltered truth of what it's really like to be an author.
Yeah.
It's not as glamorous as you think it is. I do most of my writing at night, because that's when I have the most peace in the house. So from 8, like 6 o'clock on until midnight, that's my time. If I can do it, then that's the time, that's the availability, my availability schedule, because the house is quiet.
Yeah, that's really ideal. That's really ideal. I love riding on airplanes too. I wish that I could go places again,
I
because
know, right?
that kind of funky engine noise that kind of muffles out everything is perfect. I love
I
it.
have I have a sound machine that does the same kind of, just that zone out background noise. But then sometimes I start to get sleepy, so I have to turn it off. But Look, I know there's no easy way to answer this at all, but is there because you have written so many series and have and replete with so many vibrant characters and storylines, uh, but is there a series or a book or a character among the rest that has just stuck close to your heart in all the books and relationships that you've written? Is there just like one that stands out to you as like, I really wish I could go back and revisit that, or I love them so much? Where would you recommend that readers start if they want to read Melinda Curtis?
Well, like 95% of my books are standalone, right? You don't need to
Okay.
read one or the other to really, understand what's going on and have a satisfied experience. But there are some that are based, the characters that really resonate with me come from a place that's kind of like my experience, but not
Oh yeah.
maybe not written that way. So, for example, I wrote a book called Summer Kisses, which is about a man whose grandfather raised him, and while the book is going on and the romance is happening, his grandfather's health is failing, and it's becoming clearer and clearer that he's going to pass away. And we all have that, or we're going to be
Right.
facing that. And at the time when I was writing that book, my husband's sister was losing her battle with cancer. And he had a really hard time reconciling. He kept telling her and telling everybody that she was going to beat this and she was going to let go. And it was really about him not being able to face mortality on some level. So it was really interesting for us to be going through that while I was writing it. Now, it wasn't his exact experience, obviously, but some of
Right.
the things that the character was thinking and some of the ways that people helped the hero were ways that people helped my husband kind of get through it,
And
you know. So
I
that was a really personal experience for me, and that book really sticks out with me. It's like one of those three hanky books. Like sometimes I
okay.
have one hanky books, because I tend to write kind of more lighthearted, and some of them really deal with personal issues that
Kind of
that
get you in the feels.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, when authors bring some of that to the story, it resonates, not just with the author, but with someone else as well. And maybe someone needs to read that book, or they have read it and remember that book, and it helps them through something later on.
Oh, absolutely. It's difficult to not. I know everybody in your life is always like, "Is this book about me? Did you put me in there? Is that character based on me? Because it kind of seems like me." And you can't help but bring character traits from either people that you've worked with in the past or people in your real life that because observation leads to good storytelling. So if you can observe human nature and environment and bring that into the book, it's all sensory what you're trying to convey to the reader through words. So in some way, we do put a little of our personality and our personal life into every book that we write. Can't help it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's because you don't want to read something that's flat on the page, like
Right.
boy boy meets girl, boy has a
Right.
misunderstanding with girl where he's not telling her the truth, and then the misunderstanding is cleared up and they have insta love, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's kind of hallmarky, right? It's the thing that frustrates me about Hallmark movies nowadays is that oftentimes if they just sat down and had a conversation and told each other the truth, they can be together. But it's the character growth that I really love. I
Right.
had one of my Harlequin books was made into a TV movie for Up TV,
Awesome.
distributed internationally, but here in the States it was put on Up TV. which is the home of Heartland, which the actress who stars in my movie is Amber Marshall from Heartland. Love her.
Amazing.
And the thing about Up TV is they are doing movies where there is more character growth, which I really appreciate. I do enjoy watching their movies because like, oh, I got a little teary, because they
Right.
actually had to grow and change as a person in order to earn their happily ever after.
Right. Exactly. And sometimes that's the best, happily ever after or happily for now is whenever it's hard fought for and the characters really get to fight for each other and the reader gets to go along for that ride and they're like, oh man, Peter, would you just get your head out of your and do something, you know? and really evoking that kind of emotion from your readers is so amazing. Have you ever had any readers that felt the need to reach out to you or and say, wow, I really love this book because it felt so personal or it made me think about love in a different way?
Yeah, I have had readers reach out. The one thing, it's kind of interesting, I do try to make my characters different every time because I remember as a reader, I would read, one author, they'd be an auto-buy, and then all of a sudden their characters started to sound the same. And I'd be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And so one of my recent books, reach for it over here, A Cowgirl's Secret, is a series of 12 books that I'm writing for Harlequin, and it's book 9. And I really wanted the hero to be different. And so he's in his head. He's what I call a quiet hero. He's an engineer and he thinks about stuff. So he's in this big boisterous family, but he's the quiet one. We all have families that are kind of diverse. And we have the quiet one who doesn't really say something, or when he says something, it's kind of sly and witty. And you're like, wow, I wish that person would talk more.
Yeah.
Right? And so I've had a couple different readers contact me and say, I don't know why I love this guy, but I just love this guy because he's not like the
typical
in your face, maybe he's someone more like the average Joe that we have in our lives or we recognize in our family.
Right, exactly. So very true. And making those characters relatable and human and also flawed at times makes gives them more depth and more, makes them fully dimensional so that readers can really connect with them.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious and I will let you go. But in your time as an author, what has been the most meaningful thing for you or experience or award or a letter from a fan or what has really stuck out to you as like, I made the right choice to be an author. This was definitely my calling.
Well, I think there are 2 times that really come to mind that are kind of the surreal, oh, I'm an author moments.
Right.
Like my first sale was to a Harlequin editor, Paula Eichelhoff, and she's now retired from the business, but she had been working with me on spec. I had been writing things for her and she had been asking me to revise. So we went on for 2 years with me. You don't get paid when you're on spec. It's like she would send me a revision letter, and I met her at a conference where she was speaking. And her speaking engagement went over. I was supposed to meet her at like 5 o'clock. She didn't show up till 5:45. And she said, oh, I need a drink. We need to go inside. I thought, oh man, she's had a rough day. I was fully expecting she's gonna tell me what else I need to change in my manuscript, blah, blah, blah. And she ordered 2 glasses of champagne. It was just the 2 of us, right? And I'm like, okay, this is kind of surreal. And she's like, well,
champagne is celebratory.
Yeah, I need alcohol, but we're celebrating because I'm buying your book. So that was like one of those things where, how when you're waiting for someone for an important meeting and you're like, are they blowing me off? Did they forget me? Da, 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 And then it turned out to be kind of this really special moment. So that was really lovely. And then when my book Dandelion Wishes was made into a movie,
I was gonna say the movie had to have been up there.
Yeah, the way I found out, it's called Love in Harmony Valley, by the way, if anyone wants to look it up. It's like on Amazon now, you can get the DVD. But it's, the way I found out was kind of like, I had this email saying, oh, hey, these are the entertainment rights in your contract clause, and we're going to be, we've authorized the making of this movie. Kind of, you know, just an email. And so I'm reading this email, and I think it was like, I had gotten up early that day. It was like 4:30 in the morning. And my husband and I were going to go to the gym at 5:30. And I'm like waking him up, like, hey, I think they're making one of my books into a movie. And he's like, no. Like, you know, that
surreal moment
doesn't happen in real life, but it was actually true. So that was kind of surreal. We did get to go to the movie set for a few days. And I took him along, but it was kind of, you go from the champagne moment of a first sale to, oh, email notification, by the way, we're going to be turning your book into a movie.
You know, no big deal. You know, it happens to everybody at some point.
Right. Yes.
No, that is amazing. Yeah, I could see how that would be like the ultimate right there moment for you.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so very much for coming on the show today. And everyone, I will have Melinda's information in the description below. Make sure to go check out the books that she has available now, the books that she has coming soon, and to check out, what is the name of the movie again? Can you tell listeners?
It's called Love in Harmony Valley, and it stars Amber Marshall from Heartland fame. If there anybody who watches Heartland, it's been on for like 15 seasons. You know, it's a really it's a really wonderful show, I think, about this woman who's kind of like a horse whisperer, how she starts out when she's a teenager, when her mom passes away, that kind of thing.
Well, definitely go check out the movie. Read the book first. Always read the book first. Always read the book first. And then go check out the movie if you guys are interested. Melinda, it's been a pleasure. Thank you again so much for joining me this morning. And for everyone else, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure that you do so that you don't miss out on great upcoming content. And everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you again soon. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.